In one of the standout fixtures of the tournament's knockout stages, Morocco produced another famous penalty shootout victory over a major European football nation, eliminating the Netherlands from the FIFA World Cup 2026 in a dramatic round of 32 encounter played at Monterrey Stadium on Monday, June 29th. The match, which finished 1-1 after extra time, was eventually decided 3-2 in Morocco's favor from the penalty spot, sending the Atlas Lions through to a mouth-watering round of 16 clash against co-hosts Canada, while ending the Netherlands' campaign far earlier than anyone in Dutch football had anticipated. The contest carried enormous symbolic weight even before kickoff. It was billed as a meeting between FIFA's 7th and 8th ranked teams in the world, with the two countries having met only twice before, at the 1994 World Cup and in a 2013 friendly, both ending in 2-1 wins for the Oranje. But this time around, Morocco arrived as a transformed footballing nation. Having reached the World Cup semi-final 4 years earlier and currently holding the Africa Cup of Nations title, Morocco came into the match unbeaten throughout the tournament, having won 2 of their group games and drawn the third. The Netherlands, for their part, were also in excellent attacking form heading into the tie. They had been the tournament's joint top scorers with 10 goals, posted a conversion rate of 25%, second only to Japan, and were averaging around 56% possession, among the highest figures in the competition. With several Moroccan players having spent time playing in or having connections to Dutch football, the fixture also carried an extra layer of familiarity and narrative intrigue that made it one of the most anticipated last 32 ties of the round. From the opening whistle, it was clear this would not be a one-sided affair. Despite Netherlands largely controlling the early exchanges, it was Morocco who came closest to scoring first, with Neil El Ainoui rising to meet a corner delivered by Achraf Hakimi roughly 20 minutes into the match, only to be denied by a spectacular reaction save from Dutch goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen. The save set the tone for what would become a heroic individual performance from Verbruggen across the full 120 minutes. Morocco continued to threaten before the interval, with Ismael Saibari narrowly failing to connect with a teasing cross from Hakimi at the back post in first-half stoppage time. Morocco's dominance carried into the second half, with Hakimi continuing to torment the Dutch defense down the right flank. The Morocco captain struck the woodwork early in the second period after surging forward, and moments later carved out another chance that was only snuffed out by a crucial recovery challenge from Mickey van de Venerable with his side under sustained pressure. Netherlands manager Ronald Koeman turned to his bench, bringing on Toon Koopmeiners and Wout Weghorst in an attempt to wrestle back control of the game. The substitutions paid immediate dividends. Weghorst won an aerial duel to release Crescencio Somerville down the flank, who in turn played in Cody Gakpo for a clinical finish past the advancing Yassine Bounou. The goal arrived in the 72nd minute and was laden with emotion. Gakpo's strike came just 2 days after he had announced the devastating loss of his unborn son, and the Dutch forward was visibly emotional as he celebrated what briefly looked like it would be the winning goal. It was the third goal of the tournament for Gakpo, and given the personal circumstances surrounding it, an especially poignant moment in the match. For a long stretch, it appeared as though that single moment of quality would be enough to send the Netherlands through. However, Morocco refused to fold. Despite having created the better chances throughout the first half, the Atlas Lions had been repeatedly denied by Verbruggen, but they finally found their equalizer deep into stoppage time when Issa Diop rose highest to glance home a header, leveling the score at 1-1 in the 91st minute. It was a crushing blow for the Dutch, who had appeared to be closing out the win, and the goal marked Diop's first ever international strike for Morocco, a moment that could scarcely have come at a bigger occasion. The dramatic late leveler forced the match into extra time, and the additional 30 minutes proved to be a tense, largely cagey affair. Neither side was able to find a decisive breakthrough across the 2 periods, though Morocco again came closest through Soufiane Rahimi, whose effort was repelled by yet another outstanding save from Verbruggen, who threw himself across goal to keep the score level. During the opening period of extra time, Morocco enjoyed as much as 82% of possession, although that level of control proved difficult to sustain over the full 30 minutes, and the contest eventually petered out goalless, setting up a penalty shootout to decide which side would progress. The shootout itself produced almost unbearable drama from start to finish. Morocco's first taker, Neil El-Nui, smashed his effort against the crossbar, before Justin Kluivert similarly struck the woodwork for the Netherlands on their second attempt. Things briefly steadied as both sides converted further kicks, but the tension ratcheted up again when Quinten Timber missed wide for the Netherlands and Achraf Hakimi then struck the post for Morocco, before Yassine Bounou produced a vital save to deny Crescencio Somerville. That save effectively turned the shootout in Morocco's favor, handing Ismael Saibari the opportunity to seal the result. Saibari did not flinch under the pressure, sending Verbruggen the wrong way with a calmly placed low penalty into the bottom corner, confirming Morocco's place in the next round and sparking jubilant scenes among the Moroccan players and supporters inside Estadio Monterrey. In the end, Morocco beat the Netherlands on penalties after the match had finished 1-1, sending the Dutch home from the World Cup. It marked the second time in Morocco's history that they had overcome a major European football power on penalties at the World Cup, 4 years on from their famous victory over Spain in Qatar in a strikingly similar fashion. For Morocco, the win continues a remarkable run of knockout stage success at major tournaments and underlines just how far the team has progressed as a footballing nation since their breakthrough run to the semi-finals in 2022. The result was a particularly bitter pill for the Netherlands to swallow given the manner of their exit. Having taken the lead through Gakpo and appeared to be cruising towards a routine victory, the Dutch sat back and invited pressure rather than pushing for a second goal, allowing Morocco the space they needed to find a way back into the contest. It marked an uncharacteristic collapse for a Netherlands side that had looked so sharp throughout the group stage, and notably, this is the first time in history that the Netherlands have failed to reach the round of 16 in a World Cup for which they qualified. For a golden generation of Dutch talent that includes the likes of Gakpo, Timber, Verbruggen, and Van de Ven, the early elimination will sting deeply, even as Verbruggen's heroics in goal offered some consolation amid the disappointment. For Morocco, the celebrations were every bit as significant as the result itself suggested. Speaking after the match, Moroccan defender Noussair Mazraoui reflected on the scale of the achievement, describing the Netherlands as one of the toughest opponents in the world and a genuine contender to win the tournament, before adding that overcoming such a side represented a huge acknowledgement of how far the Moroccan national team has come. The victory sends Morocco through to face co-hosts Canada in the round of 16, with that fixture scheduled to be played in Houston on July 4th. A clash that promises to be charged with extra significance given Morocco's strong recent World Cup pedigree against host nations and goalkeeper Bounou's own Canadian heritage. Beyond the result itself, the match will likely be remembered as one of the defining storylines of this year's expanded World Cup format. With Germany having already fallen to Paraguay earlier in the same round, and now the Netherlands eliminated on penalties by Morocco, the new 48-team round of 32 format is already demonstrating that established European football powers can no longer take their progression through the tournament for granted. For neutral fans, it was simply an outstanding advertisement for knockout football, a contest packed with goals, goalkeeping brilliance, late drama, emotional storylines, and a shootout that swung back and forth until the very last kick. For Morocco, the journey continues with growing belief that they can go even further than their historic run in Qatar 4 years ago, while for the Netherlands, the long wait for a first-ever World Cup title will now have to continue until at least the 2030 edition of the tournament.